recruit and command the most powerful team of Avengers ever assembled in Marvel. Avengers Alliance.
Welcome to CBR TV. I'm Jonah Weil, and in the CBR Tiki Room, sitting to my right, is our old buddy Gerard Way. We haven't seen you for a while, and his writing partner on Killjoys, Shaun Simon. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Thanks, man.
So I was looking on CBR when we talked about Killjoys, and it was announced, and it's been a 3-year journey from announcement to finally getting here.
Right.
Man, 3 years.
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
It's nuts.
So what happened? Obviously, you've been busy with albums and the band and stuff like that. You had a baby.
Right. Well, the book changed a lot because the project ended up...
Yeah, if we did that book 3 years ago, it wouldn't have been the book that's coming out now.
Yeah.
It's a totally different book.
Do you think it would have been a less good project? Less good?
Absolutely not. I think it changed. I think it changed for the better, inspired by what he did with the record.
Yeah.
You know?
Like the comic idea informed the record, and then during the record... kind of it helped refine the idea, and then it was like, all right, cool, this is what it is. And then really Becky had done this drawing for a single for The Only Hope for Me Is You, and it was a drawing of the girl, and she's like 16, and she like has this kind of like shaved head, short hair, and I saw it and I was like, I think this is the comic. And that literally changed that day. I called Shaun and we changed the whole thing, and we're like, no, the comic is basically the last video. It's the last part of the story.
How has it changed in those 3 years? How has it evolved?
Well, it used to be about like a completely different group of people, and now
It used to be a lot more ground level, starting off in a very relatable setting.
Right.
And now it's kind of in this other world, in the world that Gerard created with Killjoys. And we were exploring more of that too, so it's not just the desert, we're seeing more of Battery City, and we're seeing different parts of Battery City, and it's really cool, you know?
In 2009, you talked a lot about it being a reflection of the best of the 90s with the Invisibles and stuff like that. Does it still reflect that, or?
I'd say a little.
Right.
But it's really its own thing now. It actually feels more like a Miyazaki film or something like a movie thing.
How
Absolutely.
So? How do you mean?
Like the pacing is actually, it's not as frantic as I think people are going to expect. It's paced very well, and it's paced kind of moderately. And you really get to know, there's like basically 3 stories going on at once.
Right.
So you have to, it's not like Umbrella where it's like, you know, a team book or something. You know, we're doing this thing where you have to tell 3 stories that basically converge. With 3 separate locations basically. Relatively. Two and a half kind of.
We know you, Gerard, pretty well, but Shaun, we don't know you very well. Yeah. How did you get involved in this, and what's your background with this?
So this kind of came about, whereas, you know, Gerard, he had finished the first Umbrella, and he was, you know, just coming up with these ideas, and, you know, knowing Gerard for as long as I did, we tend to mesh on a lot of our wavelength and stuff, and, you know, I was working on some ideas too, and they just started to come together, and Gerard came up one day and he was like, yo, you want to just kind of merge this and just do this thing together? So that's how that came from, and then, you know, what we were working on then inspired him to do the record, and then the record inspired us to tell the story we're telling now.
Right.
So,
talk a little bit about Morrison Con, which happened, I guess, 2 weeks ago. You know, it really wasn't a typical comics convention in any sense. It was more of a conference in a lot of ways. You've done a couple comics, more than a couple comics conventions now. Talk about what that experience was for you, because it seems like it was pretty special based on the interviews I've read with you.
It was completely special. It was moving. It was, everybody there felt special. Everybody there felt like they were part of something cultural, and they, you know, I got to sit down with people for like 15 minutes, and I don't get to do that at any convention or any band signing or anything, like even meeting somebody in the street. I don't get to do that. And at this convention, they had a table set up in a seating area where they would like call your name when it was your turn, and you'd be mingling with people, or they'd be having a drink, and then they'd sit down with me and we'd hang out, and I'd draw pictures for them, and they could ask me whatever they wanted, and then the rest of the con, we would all be walking around the same hotel. So we'd all run into each other. You would constantly run into people. The panels were amazing. It had a warmth to it, and it was just like a really inspiring thing. I met a lot of people that felt very empowered. Like everybody I met basically walked away saying like, I can't wait to work on my own stuff. Be it comics, music, whatever it is they do, they couldn't wait to go and do it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, you look behind us, and it's just a sea of people, and that was a much more intimate setting. And I think that's, I think there's a good purpose to be served there, especially within the industry, to help. Look, at the end of the day, we are all in this together. Yeah. We all want this medium to flourish.
Right.
And if it just becomes media craziness all the time, that's not going to happen. But the good thing is that the public seems to want to consume what we're making these days.
And that's a positive thing. Big conventions like this are a great sign that the industry is flourishing and people are reading comics and people love comics and characters and stories and fiction. That's really cool, But without those intimate moments, I don't know that it would be as special. You need those things. I think you'll always need like a Morrison comic, something like it.
Shaun, what growing up, were you a big comic fan?
I like comics because I like to look at the pictures, and I always like the idea of putting a mask on and just becoming someone else. Yeah. So I didn't really read them, and then I kind of got away from it, and then I got back into it, and very similar to Gerard, I started reading. I started catching up on the '80s stuff, like with Frank Miller and Alan Moore and stuff, and it wasn't until I found this book called Doom Patrol. I was like, holy crap! Like,
oh yeah,
I'm missing this whole world here, and that's what really inspired me to kind of go off and like you could do crazy stuff and you can make it work and give it heart, and that's where a lot of our stuff comes from. I think
Well, Gerard, we're happy to have you back. We'd like more. Umbrella Academy will be very happy with Killjoys. It's been interesting watching the reaction to Umbrella Academy because I was actually talking to one of our editors earlier today, and he said he was working at Wizard Magazine at the time. He's reading. He's like, not only is this good, it might be better than a lot of stuff out there. Like he was surprised because so often musicians and actors and actresses, they come in and they try it and they don't quite get it.
Right.
But you got it. I mean, hey.
Well, I think I had the benefit of going to art school and majoring in cartooning and studying under Joey Cavalieri for writing and Klaus Janson for inking and Sal Amendola, like all these greats, and so I was actually my real background, so it just came very naturally, and it's always what I wanted to do. It's what I always wanted to do. So
we're happy to have you back, Shaun. Welcome to Comics, man.
Thanks a lot, man.
Shaun Simon, Gerard Way. I'm Jonah Weiland, and this is CBR TV.